Have you ever felt your loved one who is now on the other side, who has passed away, have you ever felt their presence with you? Have you ever felt as though their presence was in your home? Have you ever felt as though their presence was in your car with you while you were driving? Have you ever felt as though they were in a room with you in your home when there was clearly nobody there? Did you experience this in the days just after their transition to spirit? Very, very, very strongly, and now it feels as though their presence with you, you're feeling their soul presence maybe isn't quite as strong. I have another question for you. Have you ever experienced the feeling as though you are simply just not alone? Whether you are sitting at work in your office all by yourself, or you are in a room in your home clearly by yourself, and it feels as though somebody's standing behind you and you turn around and there's nobody there. Have you ever had that such experience? If you answered yes to any of these questions, you have experienced what is called clairsentience with most likely a loved one on the other side. You have experienced clairsentience with the spirit realm. And in this video, I'm not only going to explain exactly what clairsentience is, but I'm going to explain how everyday people quite often experience clairsentience with their own loved ones. I'm going to explain why it may be stronger just after the passing of a loved one and then fade a little bit, or we perceive as though it fades. I'm also going to explain some ways in which clairsentience works with professional psychic mediums and developing psychic mediums, if that is in particular a path that you yourself are on. So keep watching. Clairsentience quite literally means clear feeling, and it is one of the psychic senses. So clairsentience is exactly as I described. It is when we feel energy, when we feel another soul through energy. And it's not just feeling their presence. Clairsentience can occur in terms of feeling literally anything. So they can communicate anything in existence. They can be giving any type of piece of information and giving it to us as a feeling. So if you really think about it, everything in our human existence, whether it is an object, a concept, everything has a feeling attached to it, and that's really not something that we stop to really think about in our day-to-day lives. We attach either sight or words or feelings to things, one or the other. We don't stop to think really about how there are actually feelings attached to every sight, feelings attached to every word, but there are indeed. Let me give you just one such example. So let's say that you are in a large warehouse. So let's just close our eyes for one brief moment. This will just be brief, I promise. Close your eyes and imagine that you are standing in the center of a warehouse. The warehouse is huge. It is an immensely sized warehouse. Now, I want you to feel the size of that warehouse in this image. I don't want you to picture the size. I don't want you to really think about the size. I want you to feel the size of the warehouse. Now, I want you to imagine that the warehouse is quite small. Perhaps it's maybe just one single room that's maybe half the size of your house or half the size of your apartment. Feel that. Feel the warehouse as small. You see how that works? And we can feel anything from color. You can even feel a color, as crazy as that sounds. If you want to pause the video now and close your eyes and test that out, pause the video and try to close your eyes and feel the color purple, or feel the color red, or feel white and black. You really, truly can feel color. So that is what clairsentience is. It's when we are blending soul to soul. You can do it with a living person or with a person who's in spirit, because it's soul to soul, and they transmit information to us through energy in the form of feelings. So when you are feeling the presence of your loved one on the other side, and they are very clearly, passed on. They are very clearly in spirit and not with you physically. You are using your clairsentience if you are feeling their presence. And the most important thing is that you're trusting it, right? If you answered yes to one of those questions at the beginning of the video, you sensed their presence. That wasn't your brain making it up. Your soul knows their soul, your energy knows their energy, and that is exactly how you picked it up through your clairsentience. You picked their presence up through your clairsentience. Trusting this and your soul's ability to sense their soul is exactly how and why clairsentience and feeling your loved one's presence is the most common way that we experience communication from our loved ones. Not only in general, but also the most common way right after a passing occurs in the days, weeks, and maybe even months after a passing occurs, but also why we experience it often feeling like it tapers off. And by this I mean, people will often say, I felt him or her so strongly those first few days or those first few weeks, but now I feel like he or she isn't around me anymore. I don't feel them anymore. And that is so common, and this is why. So as humans, we have been conditioned that if we don't see it, it doesn't exist. If we don't hear it, it doesn't exist. We're conditioned to rely on our eyes and our ears. Obviously, we know that. But at the same time, we are sensing and feeling things all the time. All the time. I just proved it to you in that exercise, right? But we bury that. We don't rely on it. We don't rely on it because it's not something that we can objectively prove to ourselves, okay? But that doesn't mean that it's not there 24/7, 365. It absolutely is. Now, when our loved ones pass, when they transition, they've shed their physicality. And that means that we can no longer see them with our eyes and we can no longer hear them with our ears. However, that ability that we have always had to sense and to feel, that is still there. That cord is still there. That connection is still there because that was occurring with their energy. That was occurring with their soul. That is the exact same premise of if you were, when they were living, let's say that your husband is in spirit now. And you were at the kitchen sink and you were washing dishes with your back turned and somebody walked in the kitchen. You could very likely sense if that was your husband or that was your son, just because you could sense it. You couldn't see them, you couldn't hear them, but you could sense it when they were living. Your soul energy knows the soul energy of your husband in spirit, and that is still very much present, just like it always was when they were living, even though the eyes and the ears have been taken away. And that is why we feel them so strongly. That is why clairsentience is so common with our own loved ones when they transition. Now, why does it feel like it's so strong in the beginning and then it tapers off? This is for two reasons. First of all, it's us getting used to using that again. We're not used to it, and it's a shock to our systems. We're like, oh my gosh, this is new, this is new, this is new, this is new. Imagine never hearing before or never seeing before, and then all of a sudden you can see and you can hear, and you would notice everything, right? You would be looking all around you or listening to everything around you, and everything would be it would be so exciting. And then all of a sudden and then as time went on, it would sort of, your system would level out, right? That's what's happening on your end, okay? And on their end, since their body has been shed, their vibration has raised exponentially. So another aspect, the second aspect that's going on, is your energy and their energy blending together has a new normal attached to it. So when your souls were blending together when they were in the living, you were both kind of a vibrational match. They were in a human body just as you were. Their vibration has risen, and you are adjusting to that new normal nervous system wise in that way as well. So as time goes on, your nervous system adjusts. It's not that they have gone away, it's that your nervous system has adjusted to it, so it's not as shocking to your system. So you're not picking up on it as often as you had picked up on it in the beginning. They have not gone anywhere. They are still absolutely around you, 150%. I promise they absolutely are. They prove it to me in readings every day with telling clients, I've seen this, or I've seen this, or I've seen this, or I've seen that. They're still around you. It's just you're not picking up on it because your nervous system has died down to becoming more used to feeling that sense with them that you had otherwise been, ignoring when they were here in the physical. So hopefully that makes sense. If there is questions about that, comment below and I can clarify. In terms of clairsentience with your loved one, it doesn't just need to be sensing their presence. Like I established in the beginning of the video, clairsentience is a very versatile psychic sense. They can give us so much information clairsentiently. When it comes to communicating with our own loved ones, perhaps that would be narrowed a little bit because you don't have the development or training to recognize the clairsentience as widely or broadly as a psychic medium or a developing medium does. However, these are some other ways that your own loved ones can give you information clairsentiently. They might give you a chill down your arm. They might give you a tingle on your crown. They might give you what's called a different calling card that you establish. And the way that you would establish this is when you feel their presence or you get a thought of them with the calling card or the physical sensation, because clairsentience can also be literally physical or almost like a knowing of a physicality. Enough times to correlate it together, you'll know that that's their clairsentient calling card with you. So that's another way, literally a physical sensation. Clairsentience can come in the form of emotions. So you might be thinking of them or sense their presence and receive an emotion along with a random image that you haven't thought about in so many years. So that would be a combination of clairsentience and clairvoyance. And the key here would be that clairvoyant image would have meaning to you and would be out of nowhere, out of context. So I shouldn't really say that you had already been thinking of them, because this would need to be out of context when you hadn't already been thinking of them in order for you to know that it's not your own mind. But you would receive a random image along with an emotion. That's another way that they use clairsentience. Clairsentience is often combined with other clairs. You might also hear something random, like you might be driving and you might hear a random song in your head come out of nowhere along with a clairsentient emotion. Clairsentience and emotions go hand in hand. It's another very common way that they use clairsentience is to give us emotions. Another way that our loved ones communicate clairsentiently, and this might not be for everybody, that some people might not like this, and I would assume if you are one of those people, your loved ones wouldn't do this, but they can physically touch you. This is more rare, and I feel like it's maybe more rare because it may use more energy, but they can tap you on the shoulder. They can touch your hair as you're sleeping, anything along those realms that would also be considered a form of clairsentience. And finally, combining clairsentience with your thoughts as a form of support. And again, I know this is going back to just communicating their presence. This is again because I do feel like clairsentience is a bit more narrowed when working with your own loved ones, just because you aren't as trained or broadened as psychic mediums are. However, they can communicate their support so widely to you with this. So by this, I mean, you might be thinking about a decision that you need to make in your life or a struggle you're having in your life that has nothing to do with your loved one. And you might all of a sudden feel your loved one's presence. And you can feel their presence emotionally. That is a form of clairsentience. You might literally feel their presence emotionally here, or you might feel their presence in the room. That's two different ways of receiving clairsentience. And them combining it with your own thoughts would be them letting you know that they're around you. So just recognizing that it doesn't always need to be separate from you, that they can combine their clairsentience with your life, with your thought processes. And also, and most importantly, clairsentience very often combines with the other psychic senses, with the other clairs, which there are several other ones. I do have a free ebook in the description that goes through the psychic senses if you want to learn more about those other clairs, but often clairsentience will become more versatile as it's combined with the other clairs. If clairsentience is going to come in all by itself when you're working with your own loved ones, that is when it will more typically be just their presence or communicating just their presence. When you get to combining with the clairs, they can get a lot more creative. So grab that ebook if you want to learn more about what those other clairs are. Otherwise, I do have other videos on this channel about those. Now, how does clairsentience work in psychic mediumship readings? This is endless. So anything. Again, clairsentience is super close to claircognizance. Claircognizance is when a psychic medium will just know, like literally just know things and not know how they know them. That's claircognizance. And clairsentience is when we'll feel things. So an example of clairsentience in a reading is a spirit will come forward and they will feel like a sister. Okay, so that doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to be the client's sister. They could be a female best friend of the client who was as close as a sister, because it's coming through like a feeling, right? The spirit is not actually saying, I am the client's sister, or they're not clairvoyantly holding up a sign that says sister on it. They're giving the feeling of feeling like a sister. So that's one example of clairsentience in psychic mediumship readings. Other times they will show a clairvoyant image, and then the clairsentience will help to tell more about the image. For example, they may show a pool, like a pool that you would swim in, and then the pool may feel like a vacation home. It may feel as though the pool is not at a home that was the spirit person's main home. It may feel as though the pool was at a home that was different than the main home. So that would come through just as a feeling of different than main home, right? That would be the feeling. They wouldn't be saying, the pool was at my vacation home. Like, they wouldn't be spelling that out. They wouldn't be necessarily holding up a sign that says vacation home or clairvoyantly acting it out. That would literally be the feeling that comes through. And I, as the medium, need to decipher from that feeling what I'm able to. That's another example of clairsentience. Other times, a spirit person may come forward and they may just feel tall, even though they don't necessarily come through looking that way, because the way clairvoyance works, you're not necessarily seeing the whole thing always, you're not necessarily seeing the whole person always, or to scale, I should say, but they will give the feeling of being tall, or they will give the feeling of, you can get a feeling of an age even, are all ways that clairsentience can come through. So again, clairsentience can be literally about anything when it comes to psychic mediumship readings. And it really is the most helpful when it is combined with other clairs. So you often hear the term in mediumship development, feel into, or feel into it, or feel deeper. What that means is when a spirit person shows you an image, or when a spirit person gives you words, you are to use your clairsentience and feel what the image means, or feel what the words mean. And that is using your clairsentience to try to determine what the image means, so it's not necessarily just a flat image. It's not always possible. The spirit person has to give you the energy for the clairsentience, right? So you could go to feel into an image, and if the energy is not there to retrieve the clairsentient information, you're not going to be able to do that. However, if it is, you will be able to feel deeper into that image using your clairsentience. And that is where you're able to get more information out of that image. That's where you're able to get more information out of the clairaudient words. So clairsentience is very, very versatile, again, because feelings apply to everything in existence. Objects, scenarios, concepts, etc. I almost forgot the other piece where it's almost most important, I should say, in psychic mediumship readings is emotions. And that's where Spirit gives a lot of their messages and why clients often come for mediumship readings. So the conveyment of emotions is through clairsentience. And when Spirit wants to get across emotions within their messages, which should come after evidence, or they want to get across emotions within their evidence, that is through clairsentience. And in order for emotions to be in psychic mediumship readings, we absolutely have to use clairsentience. Hopefully that helped a bit. Hopefully that helps you to trust yourself more when connecting to your own loved ones clairsentiently, or trust yourself more when you feel like you sense your loved one's presence around you, and recognize that it is through clairsentience. Or if you're developing psychic medium, hopefully that gives you some food for thought. Again, I do have that free mini ebook in the description regarding the psychic senses. If you want to go ahead and download that, it's absolutely free. Otherwise, until next time, much love. Bye.